What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Run Pure Sports, bringing to you once again. We have the PGA DFS and Bets show. It feels like I haven't been on here in forever. Feels like I haven't done a show in a while. It's kind of awkward, but it's good to be back with the fellas. We got Snyder, we got Uncle T. Uncle T, let's bring you in first. What is going on, my man? How you doing on this fine Tuesday evening?
Yeah, it's been a good week so far. Missed you 2 weeks ago. I was out, and then you were out last week. So yeah, you and I haven't done a show in a couple weeks, and we've got a field we'll break down the next hour. That's not, it's definitely not the strongest field we've ever seen since us three have been doing DFS. But hey, there's still some big contests, and we'll still try to find some winners for the people and try to get to the top of the leaderboard. But no, it's been a good week for me. I'm on a real good run in baseball, and we're going to build some golf teams, and had a real close sweat in NASCAR a couple weeks ago. So it's a good time to join. We got you covered on all the sports like we always do, but tonight it's about golf, and I'm kind of last week's I wasn't real excited about last week. I was hoping that they kept the match play event rather than the team event. I told Snyder that on the show last week. It just doesn't feel the same. I wish they'd bring the match play one back. It just feels like it's a lot better for DFS, at least for me. But again, this week, we got another field. And then next week we got Quail Hollow, which will be a signature event. So we'll be looking forward to the next couple of weeks leading into the PGA.
Yeah, it was like we had the Masters, and then we had another elevated event, and then a couple shitty events. It happens. It is what it is. We're still going to break it down. We're still going to find the winners. And Uncle T, yes, you're correct. You've been on a really nice heater, man. We got to keep it going. We got to introduce all of that heat over into the golf streets. And hopefully, despite the weak field, look, like anytime you pull up pricing, either on DraftKings, FanDuel, I'm looking at DraftKings right now, and you see Jason Day in the 10K range. Come on. Like, what are we doing? Like, we know it's going to be a bad field, but we can still make money on these type of events. We definitely can make money, and that's the goal each and every week. Snyder, let's bring you in, man. You must have just saw KB. Look at that haircut. Rubio Dimes, I don't think you're watching right now, but I get on a conference call with Rubio just the other day, and he's house sitting right now, and he doesn't have his normal setup. So, like, there's times where we'll message him, and we don't hear from him. We're like, is he alive? What is he doing? Rolls into this, turns his camera on. It's just the dude could use a little haircut. Rubio, go get yourself a haircut. Come to Nebraska, our guy KB will hook you up. He has Snyder absolutely dialed. Snyder, what's going on, my man? I'm having a hard time focusing right now. That cut is just too good.
Yeah, got her done. Looking forward to this week a little bit. The pricing, the players in this isn't that good, but I think it'll lead to some fun, interesting builds to kind of keep things rolling. Last week, I really didn't play that much. I threw a few teams in there, and I picked the wrong guys. I had two guys miss the cut, so I was hurtful there with Zalatoris. And I was really surprised to see the ownership once the cards flipped over last week. I thought Zalatoris was going to be a little lower owned than Cantlay and those guys. And Cantlay, his team was actually lower owned. It was good to see Rory finally win, I guess. Maybe that's a guy we kind of look to target next week. I actually loved it when Rory and Lowry on stage, they're drinking some beers, singing some karaoke. I actually love that. Maybe back in on Rory next week.
Yeah, anytime you get the celebration, you get a guy, see a guy in his element. You're always gonna love that, and I love that too. Snyder, we got to keep it with you. We need a course breakdown this week. Byron Nelson, talk to us about the course this week.
Yeah, we're back here in Texas for the CJ Cup Byron Nelson event here. TPC Craig Ranch is a par 71 that's going to measure 7,414 yards. It's played as a birdie fest the first three times. This event's been played at this course. This will be the fourth time they played this event at this course. The greens are slightly larger than average here at 6,778 square feet on average. These bent grass greens will be rolling at around 11.5 to 12. On the step meter, golfers going to see 13 holes with water in play. 83 bunkers are going to litter the property here. This track does have some tree-lined fairways, but it's been a place where you can kind of bomb it off the tee. The fairways here are fairly wide here, right around 36 to 39 yards wide on average. The par fives are on the easier side of things here. All three are reachable, and they're going to play right around 550 to 560 yards on average here this week. The par threes are going to play just over 200 yards on average. And the majority of the pro shots be coming in from 150 to 200 yards. A lot of them like in that 175 and plus range as well. We need to keep an eye on the weather, as it looks like the golfers should see some storms throughout this event. We're living in the Midwest. The Midwest has been getting beat up by these storms, and it looks like Texas is going to be dealing with some rain and higher winds as this event goes on. So keep an eye on that closer to Wednesday night and Thursday for that. Some other key stats we'll be looking at: strokes gained approach, birdies or better percentage, opportunities gained, off the tee, par 5 scoring, proximity 150 to 200, and then putting with an emphasis on bent grass.
Yeah, absolutely love it. One thing I do want to emphasize is, the Midwest right now, weather's been absolutely crazy. Nebraska, kind of known, that's where obviously me and Snyder are from and live, known as a tornado inside of a tornado alley. But like where we live, we never get tornadoes. It's like wild. It's like we're in like a little like dome or whatever they call it. I don't know, but it always goes around us. I mean, I think we had 3 tornadoes. Dome. Yeah, I do too. It was like I felt like my Twitter account was turning into like a tornado chasing account there for a couple days. So hopefully enjoyed that content a little bit different than tilting DFS or nightly NBA tweets. Snyder, great breakdown. Appreciate it as always. If you also liked Snyder's breakdown, hit the like, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it. Jason Graham, thank you. It's never fun having to sneeze right when you're in the middle of talking about stuff. So appreciate that. Let's get into it though. Will Zalatoris was in the 10K and up range. He withdrew from this event. So it's just Jason Day and Jordan Spieth up top. So here's how we do it. We go tier by tier. Usually we go 10K and up. Let's include the 9K range. And if we want to like separate it out when you're talking about those guys, you can. But we'll say that's like the stud range this week. Another thing too, before I kick it over to you, Uncle T, these weeks where we have like a bad field and there's a potential weather wave. I don't know about you guys, but I like to absolutely hammer that, even if it's maybe not as significant of an advantage. It's a way to get different, because I feel like when we get these bad fields, it does seem like a lot of the field out there kind of consolidates on the same plays, and some end up being bad plays. So it's a way to get a little bit different. But Uncle T, 9K and up range, what are you doing with these guys this week?
Yeah, a few things real quick, AP, and you're right. Like in addition to that, you got the Birdie Fest. So you're talking about the weather angle that clearly we need to look into this week, and then you get the Birdie Fest on top of it. So if you get your guys out there in the correct wave on a Birdie Fest, you can really move your way up. And if that other wave that you fade, even though it's a Birdie Fest, has the poor weather, I think you're onto something there for sure. So we'll keep an eye on that as the week kind of evolves. And then one other thing, talking to Snyder off the air, like, next week I would assume, or I was thinking maybe with the full field, but it's only a signature event, so it's probably a partial field again, that they bring back the 5Ks. So I guess we'll have to wait a couple weeks for that. So Zalatoris, I was hoping stayed in because I wanted to fade the entire 10K range. I wanted to fade Spieth, Day, and Zalatoris. Looking at this the last couple days, now clearly I'm still going to fade Spieth and Day. There's just something going on with my guy Jordan Spieth. He does have the 2 top 10s here. Good history. He's 10-9, and the theme of the night tonight during this show will be all these guys are overpriced. We're used to seeing the 9K guys in the upper 7s and low 8s. We're used to seeing the 8K guys in the lower 7s. So that's just something we're going to have to deal with, the sticker shock. But I'm just going to fade Spieth and Jason Day. I'm just going to Jason Day, he's the defending champ, but I can't imagine paying 10-4 for Jason Day. I'm going to kind of live in this 9K range to start my teams. Siwoo Kim's going to be one of the chalkier guys, if not the chalkiest guy on the entire slate. He finished second to Jason Day here last year. I don't think he's missed a cut all year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 10 of 10 or 11 of 11 for Siwoo Kim. The only thing I can pick out of his game that I don't like right now would be his putter kind of lacks, kind of fades on him a little bit. But other than that, he's just a slam dunk play, I think, this week. A really solid way to start your lineups. So I like him quite a bit. A guy I haven't been on all year, and it's his first time here, is Sungjae M. Now, hear me out. He's clearly been playing poorly for the most part of this year, but he did have a T12 at the Heritage a couple weeks ago, and then he won in Korea last week. Now, clearly, the Korean tour is definitely not as strong as these other tours, but he might have found something at the Heritage, a nice, strong finish there. He won the event in Korea last week. He's a first-timer here, but, I kind of like him as well up the top here. So I have a little bit of interest there. I think Adam Scott's a little bit too expensive even for this field. If you want, I got in my notes here. If you want maybe a 25th place finish for 9,600, go ahead. But I'll probably fade Scotty here. Not that Scotty, Adam Scott. But Alex Norton is probably one of my favorite guys in this range. He's just been consistent all year long. I've played him pretty much every event that he's played this year. I'm always got a little bit of Alex Norton, T12 and T21 here, and then 5 straight top 25s for him this year. So I like him quite a bit. Going to fade Min-Woo Lee. And then I've got a little interest in Benny On and Steven Yeager. Both been playing some good golf. Tom Hoagie feels like he's a guy that could get steamed up. I think he grades out really high for me, maybe third on my board here right now as far as for the entire field. Feels like he's just a really good fit here. 7 top 20 finishes this year. His putter has been really good. He was really good last week, so I like him. And then I might be back on board for the first time in quite a while on my boy Tom Kim. So for me, fading Spieth, Day, Scott, Min-Woo, and then I'm just going to kind of mix and match some of these 9K guys and maybe start most lineups with 2 in the 9K range.
I love the Tom Kim mention. I mean, if you think back to it, he had that final round at the Masters that was insane, absolutely ridiculous, and then backed it up with a good performance at the RBC Heritage. I mean, we got to remember, this is he's a 2-time PGA Tour winner already, and then he kind of fell off the map.
Might be 3 times. Yeah.
3-time, right?
I'm pretty sure he won 3 events.
With these type of guys, like when you start to see that form trend in the right direction, you got to hop up. You got to know when to hop off. And we were off with Tom Kim, but I'm with you. I think now is definitely the time to hop on. So I love that mention. Snyder, 9K and up range. I might be a little bit different than Uncle T on Jason Day specifically. Spieth, I agree with. I can't play Uncle T's guy, Jordan.
It pains
Spieth.
Me to say.
I know. But Jason Day, I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for a spend-up option, in price for me is kind of irrelevant. I think he's interesting. But Snyder, talk to us about this kind of stud range, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I really don't like the 9K and up range too much. There's a few guys I like in this range. I was going to hit on Jason Day a little bit because I was looking into him a little bit. I thought maybe I would get into him. Then I pulled up what he's been doing recently. He's lost strokes approach, at least a stroke approach in his last 5 events. He lost over 3 strokes approach at the Heritage, over 3 strokes approach at the Houston Open where he missed the cut here the last time he was in Texas a few weeks ago. I mean, the putter's been nuclear for him. I mean, if he continues to gain 3, 4, 5 strokes putting, yeah, he'll probably play good this week. But if that putter kind of goes cold like it did at the Houston Open and he struggled with the irons, he lost over 2 strokes tee to green at that event. So I think I'm going to be off of Jason Day. He should see some ownership. I think I think Spieth and him are still going to be 15 to 20% owned. So I think that's an easy fade for me getting off those 2. And then it was the next 2 I was looking at was Siwoo versus Sungjae. It looks like Siwoo is going to be at least twice as owned as Sungjae. I wouldn't surprise me at all if Sungjae just beats him straight up. So I'm going to be off of the chalk Siwoo. It looks like Siwoo is going to be the highest owned on the slate, potentially up to 30% at a couple places I'm seeing. So I'm going to be off of Siwoo, just kind of a game theory type play there. I don't think he's that good. He's definitely not like a Scotty type play where you need to just jam him in at 30+% if he gets that high. So I'm going to play Sungjae over him. I think Sungjae is kind of finding something there too at the Heritage. And like Uncle T said, he won that event over in Korea. So I think he can kind of fare well here as well. Adam Scott, if you want to go there, that's fine. I mean, a couple solid finishes there leading up to the Masters there. He was T8 here last year, so you could go there if you want. I think Alex Noren is going to be a popular click that a lot of people go to. That's fine there. You're going to see a lot of ownership around a few guys up here. It looks like 20+%, like 5 or 6 guys as everybody kind of goes even build there. So I'm going to play like Sung Jae. I like the Tom Kim mentioned there as well. I was kind of diving into him. I believe he was like top 15 in the world rankings coming into this year. Has been struggling to start the year, but maybe he kind of is finding something that's kind of peaking rounding in the form there. He's got a couple of decent finishes here too as well. So I'm going to be in on Tom Kim. I'm going to be in on Tom Hoagie. And then Jaeger's probably my favorite play in this range. The dude can nuke it off the tee. He can make a lot of birdies and bunches. So Jaeger's probably my favorite option in this 9K and up range at 9,200, I think.
Yeah, very good. When you think about it, it sounds like we're all out on Jordan Spieth. We haven't seen any form. And so it's just really tough to pay such a premium for Mr. Spieth when he hasn't shown us anything. So Jason Day, though, 4 of his last 5 cuts. He's had great history here. I could see myself not like slamming him in. I think I'm just going to be in line with the field. Like, I don't want to go crazy with the 10K and up range. Siwoo Kim, I'm with you guys. I think you both nailed it. Snyder, compared it to like the Scotty situations where Scotty was 35% owned. If Siwoo Kim gets to that range, I just can't do it. Like I would easily fade that. And I'm not saying I'm going to go to Sung Jae. I think you guys made a very compelling case. I just have more interest in Alex Noren, Benny On. I've said it all year long. Benny On's going to get a win this year, and it's going to come at one of these weak fields. It just has to. I think this week, and I know I've said this maybe twice, maybe 3 times already. I'm losing track, but I just think the guy is going to get a win. And I don't think it's going to be at like an elevated event. I don't think it's going to be a major. I think it's going to be at a crappy birdie fest where you need good iron play. And he just needs that putter to go his way. And it's not like he's been putting bad. Recently, I guess he's putting bad, but
he can get really hot, as we know, making birdies too. So he can literally go on a run of birdies. So I like that a lot.
Love the Steven Jaeger call. I'm with you guys on that. Tom Hoagie, Tom Kim. Love the bottom half of this range. The Benny On down to Tom Kim. I want to live in that range, and then add in Alex Noren as well. So look, like when I run my stuff, and I haven't ran anything yet. Just diving in now. I've done my like kind of baseline research and everything, but I usually run my stuff later tonight or tomorrow. When I do it, I'm going to see what the builds look like with Day. If it's kind of lacking, if it's forcing like a 6K or some crappy golfers in there, I'm fine exiting them and just living in this lower 9K range. So I feel like we're locked arm in arm in this range, especially with the Tom Kim, Jaeger, Benny On. And I feel pretty good about that. Let's keep it going, though. 8K range. Uncle T, back to you. Let's see. Jake Knapp, Snyder's boy, all the way up to Killer Keith Mitchell. What are you doing with the 8K range this week?
Yeah, the 8K range, again, we just talked and dissected the 9Ks that I like quite a bit. I'm not going to be as invested in this 8K range. I do like a couple guys. Keith Mitchell at the top of the board there, 8,800 is definitely a really good play here. Been really good off the tee. Can his putter make enough birdies for him? That's the thing for me this week. His putter's let him down a little bit. Can he putt to a 0? Maybe a little bit on the positive side of putting one week and have that, I wouldn't call it an outlier week, but I think that kind of lets him down for sure. If he can get hot a little bit with the blade, I could easily see him contending on Sunday. So I do have some interest in him. Deitree's a guy that's had an interesting year. I actually like him as a golfer. Beginning of the year, he was just awful. Went through a bad stretch. Now he's kind of trending back the other way. Had a runner-up finish in Houston, a T28 at the Heritage, and then I think he was top 10 with McIntyre last week at the team event. So his game has been trending big time. 8,700 in this field. I kind of like a little bit of Dietrich. But after Mitchell and Dietrich, for me, you go down the board a little bit. We'll talk about KH Lee, the 2 wins, the first 2 years they had it here, and then a T50 last year. I'm going to kind of just pass on KH Lee again. If he finishes, I think he's going to carry some ownership. I'm seeing 17 or 18%. That could get higher. I'm just going to take a pass probably on KH Lee. Shank, McNeely, McNeely hasn't really done a whole lot. Shank is a guy we've played a little bit. Has a couple nice finishes here recently, but the only other guy on the board down here in the 8K range I have interest besides Mitchell and Dietrich would probably be a guy like Mark Hubbard. Played really good last week with Ryan Brehm. I think they got a solo 3rd or 4th. He couldn't make – I watched that whole round. He couldn't make any putts on Sunday, or else they would have had a shot at probably beating Rory and Lowry. He feels expensive too at 8,100, but again, it's a product of what we got to deal with this week. Aaron Rye, no real interest in him, I don't think, this week for 2 gloves. And then I'll let Snyder talk about his boy, the Napper. I can't go to him. Five straight finishes that haven't been very good. Maybe if he was $1,000 cheaper or so down the low 7K range, I might have some interest. But guys, for me, Mitchell, Dietrich, and maybe a splash of Hubbard, but kind of a dead range for me.
No interest in the gloves for a guy, Uncle T. Can't blame him, but I actually don't mind Aaron Ride if I'm being honest. It's mainly like the iron play, the T7 at the Houston Open. The guy can bring it every now and then, takes advantage of weak fields. But Snyder, what are you doing in the 8K range? And specifically, what are you doing? Actually, you got 2 boys in this range, right? You got Jake Knapp and then Mav McNeely. What are you doing with your boys this week, Snyder?
I actually do like Jake Knapp quite a bit this week. I haven't been playing him the last 4 or 5 weeks. I didn't think those courses really set up for him, but I really like him at this spot where he can just kind of mash driver off the tee here and not really worry about it too much. The par 5s are easy for him. I mean, he's been great with the irons still. I mean, he hasn't been finishing good, but with the irons, the approach play has still been dialed in for him the last 8, 9, 10 events. It comes down to the off the tee game for him. He lost over 3 strokes off the tee at the Heritage. He lost a bunch at the API, lost a bunch at the Players off the tee. I think this is a place that kind of sets up kind of similar to the Mexico Open, where he gained 3 strokes off the tee, gained about 8.5 approach. I mean, he was solid there, ball strike. We know he can get a hot putter too. So Jake Knapp in some of these spots where he can just kind of mash it off the tee in a birdie fest. Those are the situations where I want to target Jake Knapp at. So I'm going to be high on Jake Knapp. I think he's going to be sub 5%, which is awesome, I think. So definitely in on my guy Jake Knapp this week. I haven't played him in a while, so I'm going to go there. I think Mark Hubbard is a great option. I mean, I think he's one of the better price per dollar plays on the slate. I'm going to be overweight on Hubbard. I think Mav's a solid option right there. I like Hubbard more than Mav, and I think I like KH Lee more than Mav as well. So I'm going to be heavy on Knapp, Hubbard, KH Lee. It looks like Adam Shank's going to be one of the higher owned guys in this range too. So if he's going to be one of the higher owned guys, I'm just going to mark him off the card here. I don't mind playing Shank when he's like in that mid 7K range. This is a good value, but I think I'd rather play the guys under him. I'd rather play Knapp over Shank. I'd rather play Hubbard. I'd rather play KH Lee. I'd rather play Mav too over him. Dietrich and Mitchell, I could see myself maybe getting to Dietrich. He can get hot with the putter. I think I'm going to be off of Keith Mitchell this week, though. I just don't see myself getting to him. I could play some Dietrich, though. But top 3 guys in this range for me is Knapp, Hubbard, and then KH Lee probably.
Yeah, very good. Adam Shank, so I played him at the Masters, and I played him at the RBC Heritage. I thought that would be a decent track for him. Wasn't the case. He just, had a little lag there. Now we're paying a premium for him. I get it. Pricing kind of a bit irrelevant to some degree. But if he's going to be popular, it's very similar to me, like with Siwoo Kim. It's just, these are the type of weeks where unless it's like an absolute like pricing error or, extreme course fit type of situation, I would rather get leverage on a play like that, especially if he was going to get some ownership. So I like Adam Shank. He's having a good year. Game is good, but if they go low this week, I don't see him bringing it. So I agree with you on that. I do like Killer Keith Mitchell, 8,800. I kind of just lump him into that lower 9K range guy, or into the lower 9K range group with the Tom Kims, the Steven Yeagers. I think he profiles pretty well. 4 of his last 5 cuts. Good course history. Hasn't missed a cut here. T3 in 2018. I can definitely get on board with Keith Mitchell. And then it's like a bunch of fades. I'm not playing Dietrich. Mackenzie Hughes, for me, is typically more of like a showdown play. Relying on that guy to put together four rounds at times. He was good at the Valspar, good at the Houston Open, but man, I'm usually more tilted than not with Mr. Mackenzie Hughes. And then KH Lee, no. Matt McNeely, no. Hubbard's fine. I'm sold on Jake Knapp. Big driver, good with his irons right now. Weak field, potential birdie fest. Absolutely love it. 8K. I am going to get back on the Knapp train with you, Snyder. And then I like Aaron Rai. I think it's a good Aaron Rai course, especially if he brings his approach game and his iron play.
Sounds like it's time for me to win some heads-up matchups with my 2 guys here. Knapp sucks.
What do you want down there in the low 8Ks?
You guys go at it.
Knapp sucks. We'll talk.
I don't need another reason to tilt even more about.
I'll get you guys some Apple bucks this week. Knapp sucks.
Well, yeah, no. Make Snyder your offer. Make Snyder your offer. I'll be the one to remember the best.
You don't necessarily need a driver. Driver doesn't really help you on this course that much. There's only a couple holes where it's going to help you on the par 5s. Other than that, you got to just put it in the fairway. I don't know. He's way over 2 on the odds on this range. He's like 80 to 1, where everybody else is like in the 50s in this range. So Vegas doesn't like him either.
What do you want?
I mean, I'll take any of them guys above him. I don't even like this range. I'll take Hubbard over him. I don't even
How
like
about Hubbard versus Knapp? Snyder's looking at him. Well, I'm staying out of this range because it's like none of these are my guys. So,
they're not my guys either. But Knapp sucks.
Rogers, you can have whoever you want.
Who? Patrick Rogers isn't in the event, is he?
Oh, yeah. Not Hubbard. Not Hubbard. You got to pay attention. You got to listen. Not Hubbard.
Hubbard's a strong play.
Ooh, babe.
You can have Patrick Rogers.
We'll keep it moving here because we need to keep it online. But yeah, we'll find.
That is true. It's actually my wife's birthday, so still doing the golf show, and that's as I was telling the fellas before we started, that's my present to her. Leaving her alone, she can get her quiet time in, and I'm here grinding golf with the fellas.
Happy birthday to Mrs. AP.
Yeah, happy birthday to Mrs. AP. There we go. All right, let's just keep it going though. 7K range. Back to you, Uncle T. Back to you. 7K range. Pretty big range down here, but, sifting through to the bottom. I mean, there's a lot of guys. Ben Martin all the way down there at the bottom. And then, we got Davis Thompson all the way at the top with Seamus Power. What are you doing with the 7K range this week, Uncle T?
Yeah, when we had the 5K range and had the full fields and the stronger fields, the 7K range, I remember we had like 16, 18 guys. There's like double that. Like this range is just peppered with golfers. So I think what we'll find in this range for sure, though, outside of a couple guys, is you're definitely going to get all guys that you talk about ownership in this range for the most part, other than a couple. Like I said, I think Davis Thompson at the top and Seamus Power is probably one of my favorite plays. He's the one that carries as good a course history as pretty much anybody outside of the KH Lees, the Day, and the Spieth kind of guys. 3 straight top 20s here. He's been trending a little bit better. He had the T12 in Harbor Town that might have turned his season around. I'm not sure if he played in the team event last week. I can't even remember. But the guys at the top are good plays. Davis Thompson, Seamus Power, really nice plays at the top of the board. I think another guy that's going to get a little bit of ownership is this Peter Kest, I guess is how you pronounce it, 7,500. I like him quite a bit in the middle of this range, 70 to 1 to win the golf tournament. A guy that started out on I'm pretty sure he started out on the Korn Ferry Tour this week or this year, off back-to-back top 10. So I think those 3 are going to maybe be the guys that are in double figures as far as ownership. But other than that, other guys in this range, you're going to be able to get fairly low owned, sub 10%. Doug Gim, like him a little bit. He's cooled off. We played him quite a bit, or at least I did back in early February and early March. I played him quite a bit. he's kind of cooled off for sure, but he did have a T19 here last year. Like Doug Gim a little bit. Thorbjorg Olesen, just looking into him a little bit. I don't know a ton about this guy. He's clearly played in some events. I think he scores fairly well on the par fives. You're going to need to do that here this week.
He's the airplane guy, right? Wasn't there an incident on an airplane where he got absolutely hammered?
Oh, really?
That's him, right? Thornborn, yeah. Chat will know. I'm pretty sure where he got kicked off a flight or something happened.
I love that.
Snyder, do you know? That's that Thornborn, right? Olsen? Just absolutely blitzed on a plane.
Sounds like something he would do.
That's a Snyder kind of thing he should know. Snyder should know that. But yeah, I like him a little bit. And again, Peter Kester, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right. Or Quest, I don't know. Justin Lauer.
Sounds right.
Justin.
I mean,
Lauer,
Uncle T, this is not the show to worry about like pronouncing names.
Akshay Bhatia.
This is literally not the show to like worry about something like that.
Justin Lauer, 75 to 1 to win the golf tournament. I like him a little bit. Coming off at T4 in the event that the alternating event there in Punta Cana a couple weeks back, played pretty well. A couple other top 30 finishes before that, 7,500. I can get me some Justin Lauer. And then a couple guys that Taylor Pendrith, I know he's had a rough year. T11 in Punta Cana himself, played with Corey Connors last week. I think they finished T11. Again, just feels like this range is always going to be our value guys. You're going to have to just try to find value guys. If I'm going to try to go 2, maybe 3 guys in the 9K range, I'm going to have to – I don't really want to dip down that 6K range this week. I want to be more balanced, and that's normally not the way I build, but just due to the event and what we're looking at here, I think I might go more balanced this week. Taylor Pendrith is a nice play. AP's guy killer Nate Lashley. That's not his name, actually. Nasty Nate Lashley. I like him quite a bit, 7,300. And then going down a little bit more, 7,200. I know I've played Matty Schmid more than anybody at RPS. I like this guy. He did miss the cut here last year, but he's been playing some really good golf. Had him in the team event last week, and he kind of let me down a little bit. Struggled at the start of the season, but now he's been crushing. So I think he's mispriced the other way. I think he's one of the guys that could be, $300, $400, $500 more expensive. So Matty Schmid is probably one of my favorite guys in this 7K range. And then just a couple guys down to the bottom. I'll leave some for you guys. Our boy Alejandro Tosti, 7,100. I like him a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to Parker Cootie, 7K flat. I know he disappointed a little bit with his brother last week, but got me some interest in Parker Cootie. And then Vincent Norman all the way at the bottom of the board too there, T8 here last year.
Yeah, very good. It does drop off pretty quick. Lower 7K range, and then especially in the 6K range. So I like the idea of the balanced build, and it'll be interesting to see if that's popular. You got to think it's somewhat popular, but ownership outside of a few plays, like we stated, should spread out. You would think, and that's why the guys up top, the Siwoos, and Adam Shank, if he's going to be like 20%. Whew, man, I couldn't get on board with that. Snyder, what are you doing with this range? We do have a few of your guys, I believe, in this range. At least I thought a few of them. So it'll be interesting. Who are you on in the 7K range?
Yeah, I see myself playing a lot of mid-range builds this week as well. So I'm going to have a lot of these guys kind of funneled in, mixed and matched with some guys up top. I think like a couple guys up near the top that really catch my eye is David Thompson and then Seamus Power. I think Seamus Power is going to crush this event again. He's coming off that 12th at the Heritage, and he's got great course history here. He's finished inside the top 20 every time he's been here, with the top 10 a couple years back, the first time they had it here. I think Power is one of the best plays in this 7K range. Big Haas is there too, Texas guy. I'll probably have him in the pool. I don't know if I'll be heavily on him, but it won't take much to get overweight on him. He'll probably be somewhere in that 7-10%.
Who is Big Haas? Just for the people that don't know the nickname, tell them about your boy. This is one of Snyder's boys. Who's Big Haas?
Big Haas was a guy that printed for us all through the start of the year. Bo Hostler, the visor wearing Big Haas. He was a straight printer for us the first couple months of the year. Has kind of cooled off a little bit, but I like him coming back to Texas here, where I used to only target him was in Texas, but. Yeah, I like him this week. Top 20 the last time he played in this event. he'll be in the pool for me is for sure. A lot of these guys you can just add in there, like Doug Gim, Chan Kim. Some of these guys are going to be pretty low, and you can get overweight on a lot of these guys pretty easily. They'll all be like right around 10% or less. Most of them under 10%. I like lower quite a bit. The odds are following lower as well, so he's like a Vegas guy. I think he's a strong option there, 7.5. Peter Kuss, I like him too. With you, Uncle T, couple top 10s. He finished top 15 at this event last year as well. I think he sets up really well. He can get a hot putter. He can make a lot of birdies, bombs it off the tee. His fairways at a high clip as well. So I like Kuss there. Sam Stevens is one of my guys. I like to play in these weaker type field events. He's kind of trending back up. It was really good to start the year. Kind of had a crash landing as chalk in one of those events, but I think he's kind of coming back into form here. So I'm going to be back on Sam Stevens. Novak can make a lot of birdies and bunches. I think he's a guy you need to have in the pool. He's going to be probably around 5%. It won't take much to get overweight on him in your portfolio this week. Pender is fine. CT Pan had a good finish here last year. He can make a lot of birdies. 2 at 7,300. He'll be under 10% owned. So I think CT Pan's solid. Taylor Montgomery, one of the best putters in the field, if not the best putter in the field. If he can just hit his driver and approach shots to a zero, I think he can do all right here because he can make putts from all over the green. I think he's interesting. He should be probably 5% or less this week too. Bud Cauley's down there. Matty Schmidt is a guy I've been playing a lot lately. He was really solid. The Punta Cana at the team event, he was good. He can make some birdies. I think he's fine down there. Max Gracerman's a guy I've been playing a lot this year. He can get hot. He was top 10 at Houston the last time they played here in Texas, so I like Gracerman back in Texas this week. Yeah, there's just some solid options down here. I think I'm going to be off of Cody this week. I may get a little bit of him. I don't think anybody's going to go to him at 7K. But Rio's down there. Hisatune, he's a guy that can make some birdies. He'll be like 1% owned. If you're playing 150, it won't take much to get overweight on him.
Who was that?
Ryo Hisatune, the Japanese guy, 7K flat.
I mean, Snyder, like, you pronounce lower, lower, but then you get I got 1 year of Japanese under my belt. I got 1 year of Japanese under my belt. I think you actually pronounced that right. Hisatune, right?
That's what I've been told, I think, yeah.
Yeah, good job. Hey, I like it. We're making steps in the right direction as far as name pronunciations go. And now I could have butchered that also, and I could be way wrong, but it looks right to me. I think this range is kind of cut and dry, and it really Hideki, yeah, the Hideki one is right. That one is definitely right.
That's the best bit.
Yeah, that is the best bit.
It's one of the original guys, Hideki.
Yeah, Hideki, and who was the other? Who was the other original one? It was Xander, Hideki, Xander, McIlroy, and who are the other ones?
Kopecky.
Kopecky was a good one. What was the there's so many. There's definitely so many. For me, this range, like Seamus Power, like by far one of the best plays. Look at his history here. T19, 17, 9th. I mean, he made his last 4 cuts here. And then I like the Bo Hostler play. I always play him in Texas. And then Doug Ginn as well. Doug Ginn, T19 last year, T12 in 2019. He's cooled off, but his ownership should be lower too. So if we get him under sub 10%, is that what you're saying, Snyder? Like 10% or lower?
Yeah, it should be.
I love Doug Ginn. In this field, weak field, a guy where when you look at this range and you look at a weak field, you got to think that he's telling himself, "Look, I need to perform this week, especially with how he's playing." So I like Doug Ginn, 7,700, very fair price tag on him. Peter Kust, is that right?
I thought it was Kust, but I'm not sure.
Is that right? Uncle T's just laughing.
I don't know. I said it earlier.
I like your guy. That's what I was trying to say. I like your guy.
I thought it was just, but I might be wrong.
No, I think it's right. Big driver. The putter is starting to warm up, coming off a T9. I mean, look at it, like T9, T10, T13. I mean, the guy is in form. Now he gets a weak field, another weak field, obviously coming off the Corrales Punta Cana. I'm definitely down with our guy, Peter. Justin Lauer, I like him as well. I'll have a sprinkle of my boy, Andrew Novak. Not in love with him this week, but just for the brand, for the respect, I got to sprinkle him in. And then I didn't think anyone was going to talk about CT Pan. Snyder, I'm glad you brought him up. I love CT Pan this week. It's just the perfect spot for him to randomly like nuke and put up a good score. And you're going to get him at what? Like 7 or 8%, something like that. I mean, under 10, hopefully. If he's like over 10, it's like, I'm still not that worried. But if he's like 15 or higher, then it's like, ooh, I mean, not so good. But if we get him under 10, if we get him in the single digits, I absolutely love CT Pan. I'm trying to think if I have anyone else. I'm trying to keep the pool a little bit tighter this week, especially for those 20 max type of contests. So I really want to limit who all I have exposure to down here. And so I'm probably Xing out like Parker Cootie and Vincent Norman, a lot of these other guys down here. Definitely not playing Matt Kuchar. I think like none of us talked about Daniel Berger. He didn't withdraw, did he? I mean, he just broke it.
He probably should.
Yeah.
I mean, we just got to see something. Like people are going to play him. And look, I'm not like, if you want to be the very first on him, I mean, that's perfectly fine. But the guy is clearly battling demons right now and trying to find any type of form. Maybe he finds it. I think it's a better showdown play. If I'm being honest, if you have a read or if you see something, maybe hammer him in showdown. But I'm not a huge fan of Daniel Berger until we see something. And it has to be better than a T50 at the Corrales Punta Cana in a very weak field. That's not showing me something. So let's keep it going, though. 6K range. Uncle T, back to you. What are you doing down here in the 6K range?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I really don't want to, sometimes when we're wanting to play more of those stars all the way above 10K on some of these slates, I don't mind dipping down here for one guy to kind of round out your team if everything else fits. But I don't see myself really getting down here a lot. So I'll just kind of go through a couple of them that, if I need to, if somehow I wanted to build maybe a 3 9K or a 2 9s and 2 8s and maybe get one guy in here, guys like a Bryce Garnett down here at 6,800 is a guy I'm looking at. He won in Puerto Rico earlier in the year, pretty good ball striker. T8 team last time out at the Heritage. I kind of like Bryce Garnett a little bit. And just going by odds, a guy that sticks out down here on DK right now, 100-1, 6,800 Davis Riley. Now, I know Davis Riley has had his struggles a little bit this year. He does have a T9 and a missed cut here. But just judging off of odds, Vegas likes him a little bit. So 6,800, again, I may sprinkle him in if I need to. And then a couple of guys down towards the middle here, Campillo, Brandon Wu, Mac Meisner. Those are a couple guys that I'd have my eye on if I was going down here. And then two other guys I'll mention. Actually, one other guy, Nicholas Snyder mentioned Grazerman above in the range above. Grazerman played with this Echeverria guy last week. They finished T4, and then he also has a T14 last time he played in a regular event. So 6,500 for a guy down that board, down the board this far. I can kind of sprinkle him in some lineups. Hendrik Norlander, I was looking at him a little bit, but I kind of took him back out of my pool. It felt like he was he played with Luke List last week, and I think they guys were a shot or two off the lead going into the alternate shot on Sunday, and I think they shot a 75 or 76. So you could probably do worse than Hendrik Norlander if you needed to at 6,500. But, again, not much interest down here for me.
Yeah, very good. You mentioned Bryce Garnett, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's one guy that we agree on. I like a little bit of Bryce Garnett. Snyder, what are you doing down here in the 6K range?
I think Chandler Phillips is fine up at 6,900. He can make some birdies. Jimmy Stanger's a guy I'll probably have in the pool. I think even Kevin Tway maybe be a guy I'll look at here. I
like Kevin Tway. I got him clicked.
He finished 11th here last year. He was third at the Corrales Punta Cana, and then they played well in that team event last week. So I think he's worth a click or having in the pool. he's a guy that'll literally be like 1% owned. Like nobody will play him. So it don't take much to get overweight on him. Some of these other guys, yeah, you can play Bryce Gardner. I think he's a good birdie maker, good play in these weaker type field events. Chris Goddard, he can bomb enough to tee. He's interesting. He can make some birdies. He's a good putter. I think he's decent. Maybe he'll make the pool. Our guy Dylon Wu's down there. I don't know if I'm going to play him. I do like the call on Nico down there, 6,500. I'm going to play some Nico. He can make some birdies and bunches. It's a great price. I think he's underpriced, actually.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to be kind of closer to Grayson there at the bottom of the 7K range. So, like the value on him. Mac Messier, he's a guy that you can play too. I think he's fine at 6,600. That's about it for me. I'm not going to – I think a lot of my builds will probably actually hopefully end in the 7K range if I go more even. But I'll have a few of these guys sprinkled into the pool for sure, though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a good point, and that's part of the reason why I think I'm now leaning towards like fading the 10K and up range, living in that low 9K range that we talked. It feels on the surface, it feels right. Obviously, we got to run our stuff. We got to put the numbers into SaberSim, our partners, and see what everything looks like. So that is definitely always, we can't just overstep that part of the process. But I do have a few guys checked. Kevin Tway, 6,900. So with you on that, Snyder. And look, it's coming off a third at the Corrales Punta You get a weak field. He played well here last year, and he has he has one top 10 here, and then a T11 last year in 2023. Bryce Garnett, just a good iron player, takes advantage of weak fields at times. And then Lanto Griffin. So shout out to my guy Justin, my brother-in-law. He knows Mr. Lanto, and no inside information or anything like that, but said he's been grinding very, very hard. I just 6,700. I'm probably going to stop it here at Lanto. I think he makes a cut and maybe surprises us. 4 made cuts in a row, building on each one week over week. If he can just put it all together, I think Lanto has he can finish inside the top 25. So
AP, I'm old enough to remember a couple years back when we were just getting started, in the golf stuff when we were doing the shows together. I remember we had our boy Lanto Griffin up there quite a bit, and then he just kind of fell off the map. But I kind of
definitely fell off the map. Yep. Yeah. I'm with you, but I'm definitely going to be on Mr. Lanto Griffin this week. Outside of that, I can't get down here too much further. We're not playing like Zach Johnson, Stuart Sink. I mean, Streel Daddy can't get down this deep. So I'm going to cut it off probably at Griffin, unless I guess the thing that could change it if we have a massive wave advantage, then I would introduce those that are on the good side of the wave or the projected wave back into my pool. But for right now, for the show purposes, I'm probably stopping at that 6,700 range. And I feel pretty good about that. Snyder, any matchups this week in the betting streets that you're looking at?
Not really. I haven't really found any matchups I really like this week. It's kind of interesting looking at a few of these. Spieth is a pretty big favorite over Day. I guess it doesn't really surprise me at all. Sungjae is actually a big dog, the Siwoo, though. The markets actually like Siwoo, so that's probably why the ownership is going his way. Siwoo is minus 145 over Sungjae, but I actually like the dog in that matchup. I think Sungjae is more live than what's given credit there, so I would lean to Sungjae plus 125 over a Siwoo there. And then I like Hoagie against Keith Mitchell. Hoagie's minus 120 against Keith Mitchell, and I would lean with the Hoagie on that side.
Let's do this too, because I think these weeks are much better. Instead of looking at unless you got a really great read on matchups, it's perfectly fine as well. These are the best weeks, in my opinion, to take some shots on longer shots. So here's what I think we do. Let's each give our 3 favorite long. It doesn't even have to be a long shot, just outrights to win, and we can overlap too. If we fall in the same golfer, I think it's fine. Normally we do 2. Let's do 3. I don't even have my third with me right now, but we can give 3 to the people. Because I know usually what I do in fields like this, I like to have 5. Let's just say you take like $100, $200, sprinkle it around those 5, pick some long shots, and you got someone. If you're not playing DFS, you're not in the DFS streets. You got someone to root on for the week. Uncle T, you want me to start with you or Snyder?
Snyder, let him start this week.
All right, Snyder, you got your outrights that you like.
I had 2 queued up. Both of them are past winners this year. There's not many winners in this field that have already won this year on tour. I got 2 of them that have already won this year. I think we could see him get another win here this week. The first one's going to be kind of more of a favorite there, and Steven Yeager at 25-1. I really like him to win.
Don't say the next one. Don't say the next one.
I'm going to the next one is right there. He's already won on tour. This is a comp course. I think a comp field. This is a birdie fest. He's already won in a birdie fest. Jake Knapp at 90-1. He's not as good as odds. We had him. I picked him as a winner in Mexico. He's only 45-1 for that, but I had him. That was my first outright of the year. Going right back to Jake Knapp at twice the odds this week. So I like him there. And then my other one is going to be Seamus Power at 60-1. Kind of a longer shot there at 60-1. FanDuel is the best line on Power. So make sure to get it on at FanDuel at 60-1 because he's 55-1 at a couple other spots.
My first one, I'm going to take Uncle T's, give you a little extra time. So my first one, well, I got to give 2 up here in kind of the safe-ish range is what I call it. Benyon, 25-1. I'm looking at DraftKings. We might be able to get better than that. Tom Kim, 28-1. I mean, in this field, Tom Kim trending the right direction. I mean, I might run over for us, it's the Warhorse Casino and fire some back shot. Just text Snyder and have Snyder get him in a little bit closer for drive. 28-1. I'm curious to see what Warhorse has him at. So those are the 2 in the safer range. I was with Snyder on Seamus, so this is kind of how my card would look. Sprinkle a little bit on Seamus and CT Pan, 75-1 was the other guy on my list as well. And then I'm sprinkling a little bit on my boy Lanto Griffin, 150-1. Not a lot, just a little sprinkle, just to see if we get a sweat.
A $10 or $20 bill. I like that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, $20 on that.
I like that.
150-1 on $20. Yeah, sign me up. That's what the card's gonna semi look like right now. So it's just such a great outright week. What?
Tom Kim's 28-1 at Warhorse, which is Canby. They use a Canby there. Steven Yeager is actually 33-1 on Canby. So
that's one where it's like when you talk about your portfolio. I mean, I'll go throw like $100 on that, 28-1 on Mr. Tom Kim. And I'm just saying, like, if I'm allocating $200 to outrights on a week, I don't do this every week, but these weeks where it's like a week field and it's like up in the air, who could win? I think it's just the perfect week. It's like I don't think this is the track or time for Cameron Champ, but we've had success with him in the past and doing it on weeks like this. But Uncle T, let's get over to you. Then we're going to get out of here. Who do you got as outrights this week?
Yeah, I remember you allocating $200 on the card table for us, so I appreciate it how you allocate that sometimes. But I got one matchup.
I did what?
I thought you wouldn't catch that.
I mean, I think I was. I think people allocated the money towards me.
It wasn't me. It was a bad field last time we played for sure. So.
That was a tough field. That was definitely a tougher field.
No, I got one matchup this week. I forgot to mention. I like Steven Yeager minus 110 right now on DK Sportsbook. Steven Yeager minus 110 over Minwoo Lee. I just I'm not as high on Minwoo. I like him as a golfer. I just I don't think he sets up overly well for this course. So I like Yeager minus 110 over him. And then for my outrights, I like Tom Kim as well, 28-1. Keith Mitchell, 35-1. Those are my 2 guys up near the top of the board that I like. And then going down the board, I got to go with my boy Matty Schmid, 80-1, 7,200 on DK. But I think my boy Matty Schmid at 80-1. And then also Nate Lashley. I know occasionally he'll pop up on one of these leaderboards and kind of sneak in there with a random win here and there or whatever. But 70-1, I like him a little bit. I do like the CT Pan call as well. I might have to get a little bit down on CT, and I'm going to pass on Lanto. I'm going to save my 20 for something else.
It's probably smart. It's probably wise. Saving the $20. Go to Raising Cane's. Go to Chick-fil-A. Whatever your favorite place is. Or actually, what is your favorite lunch spot? The guys were telling it last time I was in town.
Oh, we got a bunch of them.
What's your go-to? What's your go-to? They all said you had one go-to spot that was like.
Oh, they're probably talking about the pizza. They're probably talking about the pizza buffet that they never want to go to. But
okay.
Twin Peaks, we go. Twin Peaks is a spot of ours too.
All right, Twin Peaks for Uncle T. Go spend that $20 at
might be a little more than 20 there. It's a little more expensive.
All right, fellas. Excellent show. Appreciate all of you watching. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. For Snyder, Uncle T, I'm AP. Let's run Pier this week.